That's Chorleywood. I think haven't been out here for a little while. It's really nice to be up here again. The more to the point, this is, what are we now, late February, 22nd of February, so we're almost into March, and there are little bits of, what are they, crocuses, don't really know, but there are bits and pieces of stuff making its way out of the ground. So what I'm trying to say really is that we're coming into some sort of a spring, and I know I'm not alone in this, and I look forward to it. So some horse hooves. So that was it really. Just wanted to share that. So I'll give you a shot without me in it. It's not a 4K camera, the front-facing camera. So to get a decent video panorama, I need to flip it around, which you can't do on an iPhone when you're recording. It's a bit, so it's a bit silly, but I think it does some sort of reversal with the image anyway, so it's clever in some ways, but not in others. You know, here we go, let's flip the camera around. So there we go, Chorleywood in glorious 4K. Just a mile or two outside the imaginary Greater London boundaries. And what is it? Is it Tatham Bois? Tatham Bois. Out there in the east, and Hainault out that way on the Central Line, out in the east of the Central Line. The underground network doesn't go very far south of the river in most cases, but it's amazing to think, you know, because we associate the underground network with with central London really, and a little bit of suburbia, but this is right on the edges of suburbia, and whilst it still is, it's worth recording. There's a little pub down there. I can't even remember what it's called now. Is it the Black Horse or something? I think it is, only because I can see the Black Horse and it sort of reminded me. I think it is called the Black Horse. Did a little review of that. So anyway, that's it. I've filmed up here countless times, but not for a while. So there is a a more contemporary shot of Chorleywood in Hertfordshire on the Metropolitan line, the Chiltern line, right by the M25, and not too far from the Bucks border as well. Middlesex, Herts and what was it? Bucks and Herts, that's it. Bedfordshire, Buckinghamshire and Hertfordshire. Well, Bedfordshire is a little bit further away, but Middlesex, if it exists, which it kind of doesn't, but people still use the term. My property is just about in Middlesex, has a Hertfordshire telephone number, so it's right on the border. I mean, literally the other side of the road to me. It's strange, my mum has a Hertfordshire postcode and a London telephone number, and I have a Greater London postcode and a Hertfordshire telephone number. It just shows how the boundaries have moved over the years. But anyway, that's where this is. It's out on the northwest just outside the edge of, even with your imagination, of northwest Greater London is this place, and it's farmland in it. You can hear, actually I used to say you can hear the M25 in the background. You can actually, but what I can hear a little bit more than that is the A404, I think it is, which goes into Amersham, which is at the base of the Chilterns, and that's Bucks, Buckinghamshire. So yeah, that's about it. I'm just sort of chatting because as you get around the corner there's a nice little vista again, which I'll probably leave you with, and keep these things short, try not to talk politically, which I've managed so far. And see, there goes the Chiltern Line train. Can't really zoom in because there's a gentleman there. I don't think he really wants to be in the shot. Yeah, they have just down in these trees. They have some cows in there. Oh, one thing I will say is that I managed to binge watch Clarkson's Farm over the course of the last week or so. Episode 2. These lovely dogs. I haven't got anything for you, I'm afraid. If I had any biscuits, I would eat them myself. Right. Generally speaking, dogs are dogs. Any dog that I get to know, I kind of like, really, just about. It has to be a complicated dog for me not to. But when I just think of them offhand, I always like what I call the medium-sized dogs, which start at about that, Border Collie, and go up to Labrador or something. No, those are quite big, but I just think of them as typical 2.2 kids and the family dog type dogs. But I got quite interested last year in the idea of they turned out to be beagles, but I wasn't thinking that. I was more interested in the Springer Spaniels, I think it was. Anyway, and that is a nice tie-in actually, because I was going to get back to the point of Clarkson's Farm, which was basically just that it was good, and if you're that way inclined, you should watch it, because it is funny, but it's really very heartwarming as well, and also quite insightful. It gives you some insight to local authorities and things, and what can go on in communities and stuff. But he's got a couple of, they didn't feature as much as I thought. I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't watched it and you intend to. But he got a couple of pups in there that were absolutely gorgeous, and you didn't really see much of them through the series, but they were there. So he's got a couple of these. I think they were Labrador, not retrievers. I think they were Labrador puppies, in sort of light golden tobacco. Well, a light brown, not really golden. But anyway, on the face of it, that's what I would love. A couple of those, or Springer Spaniels or something along those lines, and I may actually have to do it. Life is life. Sometimes you get thrown a curveball that you have to deal with, and you deal with it, and it turns out to be, you look back and think, it wasn't so bad, it was just an inconvenience and a shock or whatever. I just got popped my car in for an MOT about 6 weeks ago, and I got it back today. Yep, 6 weeks. So that was a shock. And not only that, the things that needed to be fixed, of which it was actually only one, but it caused all kinds of other issues. I brought it out of there with an MOT, but with the same problems it went in with, things that aren't MOT failures, but little things that I thought, well, it'd be nice if the work that's been done on the car cleared out some of the little things I wanted to get done anyway. So I think, all right, I've spent that money, it twisted my arm, but at least it's come back better than it went there. But really, well, it did come back better than it went, I suppose, because it had a broken coil spring and that got fixed. But this place, they fix them in pairs, so that was 2 of them. And anyway, it just snowballed from there, and they filled their boots. Anyway, but I was thinking that with a dog, you know, it might be, sometimes you have to recognise when it's just think, well, it's almost like got nothing to do with me now. It's the right thing to do, so just get on with it. And I think that's probably, I think I ducked that issue because I look back and think, how could I, you know, what am I going to do with a dog or 2 dogs? But, you know, you do it, don't you? Unless it was a bad idea. And of course, see, they're Metline trains. I'm thinking, that way's going into London, that way's going out of London. That way's going to Amersham or Chesham, and that way's going to Baker Street or Aldgate via a whole bunch of stuff that it'll either stop at or go flying through, depending on if it's a fast train, a semi-fast train, or a slow train. And they never say slow trains, do they? Just say this is a train to so-and-so, or it's a semi-fast train, or it's a fast train. Semi-fast meaning it stops at some of the optional stops, but not all of them. So it skips out some, and then you get the fast train, which is like, listen, if your town is of enough significance, we'll stop. So anyway, yeah, so I'm thinking with the dogs, it's like a bill, you know. I was landed with a bill for 2 dogs. Well, I only was conceptually, and so I got away with it. Managed to duck the issue, and here I am with not having the 2 dogs. Let's see what I can. Plane, moon, Venus, I think. Anyway, yeah, I had the option to get away with not picking up the bill for 2 dogs, and of course not having the dogs. So I chose that one. But I almost think that if you know, how could you not have the choice in that situation? But if there was a situation where I didn't have the choice, you know, they turned up maybe on my doorstep. That's always the one, isn't it? But you don't normally get pedigrees turning up on your doorstep. But I'm ready if they do. Actually, I'm not. But I probably would take them on rather than get off my backside and go out and make that decision, you know. So I think it possibly was something that maybe at the time, you know, you cut your cloth according to, you know, what you have and everything. So maybe that was something I should have done, but anyway, I didn't. So I don't have 2 dogs. I don't have 1 dog. I do have 0 dogs. Although I'm sure I would have made it go right had I have had them, I think maybe the time hasn't passed. I mean, it's physically possible for me to go out and buy a dog and bring it home. I mean, I'm capable of doing that. But maybe I'm off onto some other little game now. But anyway, I do love dogs. I love cats. I do love animals. The idea of having a couple of cats, a couple of dogs, it's quite interesting. If they've all, you know, grown up with each other, they get on all right. A couple of kids and all, but that ship may definitely have sailed. I'm not in trophy wife league, I don't think. In other words, I mean, I'm not deluded. I know I'm not a trophy wife. I'm quite glad about that. What I mean is, I don't think I could go out and get myself a trophy wife. I haven't quite got the credentials, whatever they are. The stereotypical image is that it includes a large bank account and a large belly, probably. I've got the large belly. Actually, it's not. I give myself credit. It's not so large. I have lost some weight. Anyhow, blah blah yappity yap. I'm back at the car. and I just wanted to share a little bit of the sun going down here in Chorleywood. Say a couple of words which I can always blank out and put some royalty-free music over the top, or perhaps you can do that, play your favourite tune to this with the sound down. But there we go. As a late teenager, I popped out to the States for a little while, had an aunt out there, and I've got other bits and pieces of family out there. But this, although the weather is a little bit cooler than it was in LA, she was in LA, this bit here, I'm not sure if it's really coming across on the camera, but it really reminds me for some reason in LA, just, I don't really know why. But it's a very nice little view, this, which you get, there's some houses over there that you get this view from like a very exclusive view from your back garden. You know, you have to have a house to have that view, sort of thing. That's a Chiltern Line train. That's going to, I don't think they go to Burt, they're going to Aylesbury, I think. Comes out of Marylebone, which is basically Baker Street station, with a 1 minute walk. A bit like King's Cross and St Pancras, they're kind of like pretty much the same thing. Especially now, there's probably a tunnel between them, little tunnel, but anyway, don't mention the tunnels. So before I say anything political, I'm finishing off. I have no idea if I'm going to be in this shot, because the only way I can do it is that way, so goodbye. I don't know if my nose just nodded at you, my eyes, or what you saw, because I can't spin the camera around with a button. I can do it literally physically, but then I can't see what I'm recording. So anyway, that's that. That's Chorleywood. It's worth a visit if you're in the area. Down in the little village of Chorleywood, there's some nice cafes and shops. There's some of the things you need and some of the things you want. So yeah, nice place. It's been months really, I think, since I've been up here. Not helped, of course, by the fact that I've been without my car for a month and a half, which was a bit ridiculous. But however, that's just how it all panned out. The bill was an inconvenience, but I had a minor miracle which improved my morale, and just take my medicine and move on. It probably wasn't my medicine, but anyway, I inherited it. And before I get cryptic as a cousin of political, if I haven't failed already, that's your lot. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and as the saying goes, I will see you. I will nearly see you in the next one. Well, I will see you in the next one, but let's leave you with a try. Cheers.